The plastic chair, at airport gate B22, was colder than I expected. I sat there for a long time, staring at my boarding pass with my name on it. There was no return date. I didn't know then that it wasn't a mistake. Hello, my name is Blake Monroe. I've lived in Portland, Oregon my whole life. I'm in a different place now, but I'll tell that story slowly. My husband Jake passed away last November. Pneumonia came quickly. Under the fluorescent lights of the hospital corridor, the doctor said, "We did our best." I nodded. His hand was already cold, and my response wasn't needed anyway. Outside the funeral home, it rained. Black umbrellas filled the parking lot, and people patted my shoulder as they passed. "Time heals all wounds. We'll pray for you. Stay strong." They meant well, I'm sure, but I only felt their words slide off me like rainwater. When I got home, everything was the same. Jake's coffee mug was in the sink. His reading glasses sat on the armrest of the couch. His old sneakers waited for feet in the shoe rack by the front door. I couldn't move those shoes. If I did, it felt like admitting it was really over. My son Mark came with his wife, Tanya, 2 weeks after the funeral. Tanya looked around the kitchen and said, "Mom, it must be hard living alone." I said I was fine. Mark stood by the living room window, looking outside. "Mom, we've been thinking. What about a change of scenery?" Tanya pulled out a brochure. Pictures of Florida beaches, palm trees, blue skies, smiling elderly couples. A family trip. Dad would have wanted this. Mark added, "We think you need it." I held on to those words. The fact that my family was thinking of me, wanting to spend time together. The weight of loss felt a little lighter. "What about the cost?" I asked. Tanya smiled. "We'll split it. We're family, after all." That word, family, felt warm. I pulled out a ring I'd kept deep in a drawer. A sapphire ring Jake gave me for our 25th wedding anniversary. "I'll sell this," I said. Mark shook his head. "Mom, it's okay," I interrupted. "The memories are here. Things should be used where they're needed." The jeweler examined the ring through a magnifying glass and wrote down a number. Less than I'd hoped, but enough to help with the trip. When I received the receipt, my finger felt strangely light. The night before we left, I sat in front of Jake's photo. "We're starting over. That's okay, isn't it?" The man in the picture was smiling. I smiled for the first time in a long while. The drive to the airport was quiet. Mark drove while Tanya looked at her phone. From the passenger seat, I watched out the window from the back. Familiar streets passed by, and soon highway signs appeared. At the check-in counter, I set down my luggage. The agent took my passport and typed on the computer, then stopped. "Ma'am, could you confirm something?" She turned the screen toward me. Next to my name was just one arrow, one direction only. "There's no return," the agent said carefully. I laughed. "That's a mistake. Could you check?" Tanya stepped closer. Her voice was still soft. "Mom, it's one way. You can figure out your own return later. You have your phone anyway." Time seemed to stop. The noise around me faded away. I looked at Tanya, then at Mark. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Would you like to check your luggage?" the agent asked. I shook my head. My bag was small. I could carry it. My hands shook when I received the boarding pass. "Have a nice trip, Mom," Tanya said. Mark touched my shoulder briefly. "Call us later." They turned and walked toward the parking lot. I stood there, watching them disappear. The corridor to the gate was long. People walked by, smiling. A child ran past, holding a balloon. I found gate B22 and sat down. The plastic chair was cold, but my chest was colder. I opened my bag and checked my wallet, credit card, driver's license, a few bills. When I turned on my phone, there were no messages. I felt the pocket inside my bra. There was a small envelope there. What Jake and I called our emergency fund. We used to joke it was break glass in case of emergency money. The folded cash felt real at my fingertips. Through the window, I watched a plane take off. It left a white trail. As it disappeared into the clouds, I wondered, could I fly somewhere, or was I already falling? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts slowly. I stopped at one name, J.R. Wade, Jake's old friend and lawyer. My finger hovered on the screen for a moment. Then I pressed the call button. When the phone rang, I understood. From now on, I was making the decisions. J.R.'s voice was still, low and steady. Blake, what's wrong? I spoke into the airport noise. I'm at the airport, alone. Silence. He didn't ask more. Where? Portland International, Gate B22. Don't move, I'll be there in an hour. After the call ended, the tears came. I looked around. Everyone was going somewhere. Families took selfies, laughing. Couples walked hand in hand. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I washed my face. In the bathroom, the reflection was unfamiliar. When had I become so small? Things I hadn't noticed when Jake was alive became visible now. The wrinkles, the gray hair, and most of all, the exhaustion in my eyes. I bought coffee at the cafe. $4.50 expensive. Airport prices. But I needed something to hold on to. The warm cup heated my palms. I returned to B22 and sat down. A young woman sat beside me. She looked pregnant. She was stroking her belly while talking to someone on the phone. Yeah, Mom's coming to pick me up. Don't worry. Her voice was happy. I turned away. J.R. arrived exactly 53 minutes later. He was still wearing his tweed jacket, the one Jake used to tease him about as his lawyer's uniform. He sat beside me and said, "Explain." I spoke slowly. The funeral, the trip offer, the ring, and the one-way ticket. J.R. listened and nodded, without interrupting. When I finished, he asked, "What about luggage?" "This is it," I said, pointing to my small carry-on. "Is your will still in Mark's name?" I nodded. "The house, Jake's, insurance, the savings accounts, everything." J.R. sighed. "Blake, this is abuse. Economic abuse." The word felt foreign. No, maybe it was just a mistake. A mistake? J.R. looked directly into my eyes. "They accidentally booked a one-way ticket? Canceling the return requires extra steps. Someone did this intentionally." I bit my lip. I didn't want to admit it. Mark was my son, the one I changed diapers for, read bedtime stories to, taught to ride a bike. I wanted to believe he would never abandon me like this, but J.R.'s expression was firm. What would Jake say if he were here? I couldn't answer. My husband was always a clear-thinking man, never wavering about right and wrong. "Call the house," J.R. said. "Ask them directly. Hear what they say." My hands shook, but I dialed. The phone rang 3 times. Tanya answered. "Hello?" Her voice was calm, as if nothing had happened. "Tanya, it's me." "Oh, Mom, did you arrive safely?" "We haven't left yet." "Tanya, what's this about?" "There's no return ticket." Silence. Then Tanya spoke. "Mom, we told you. You'll rest there for a bit. And when you're ready, you come back. There are buses, trains. You could sell your phone and have enough." "Sell my phone?" My voice rose. "Tanya, I'm 70 years old. You can't just leave me. You're independent." "Mom," Tanya interrupted. "You've always said you can do things yourself. Now you can prove it." "Put Mark on," I said. After a moment, I heard my son's voice. "Mom, Mark, what is this?" "Mom, we're struggling too." His voice was tired. "Tanya's student loans, the house mortgage, the kids' classes. You have a house, and Dad's insurance. We live paycheck to paycheck." "So you abandoned me at the airport?" I asked. Mark sighed. "We didn't abandon you. We just wanted you to think. We need the house too. And the inheritance. Eventually it's ours anyway." My heart froze. "Is this about the inheritance?" "Mom, it's not like that." "Mark, what do you think your father would say if he heard this?" Silence. Then Tanya's voice in the background. "Hang up. This is a waste of time." "Mom, we'll talk later," Mark said, and the line went dead. I stared at my phone. The call ended. Notification appeared. J.R. put his hand on my shoulder. "Believe me now?" I nodded. "I need to change my will," I said, my voice steady. J.R. pulled out a notepad. "Who do you want to leave it to?" I thought. Mark was my son, but he no longer felt like family. Tanya had never been my daughter. With Jake gone, was there anyone who treated me like real family? Elder Haven, I said. It was the senior charity Jake and I supported, and managed the rest in a trust. Exclude Mark and Tanya from every clause. J.R. wrote as he asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes." I looked out the window. Another plane was taking off. Jake said inheritance should go to people who deserve it. If they don't deserve it, it's better to give it back to the world. What about the house? J.R. asked. I hesitated for a moment. 40 years of memories were in that house. The living room where Mark took his first steps. The kitchen where Jake and I danced. The garden we tended together. But now that house didn't want me. I'll sell it, I said. Put the proceeds in the trust. And I'm going somewhere else. Where? I laughed. It was a real laugh. For the first time. I don't know, but somewhere I choose. Somewhere I want to go. J.R. closed his notepad. Come to my office Monday. I'll have the papers ready. Thank you, I said, my voice breaking. Before he left, he said, Jake asked me to help you. If you ever needed it. I'm keeping my promise. He handed me another business card before leaving. Here's a motel address for tonight. I made a reservation. Don't worry. When I was alone, I touched the emergency envelope again. Jake had said, this is your wings for when you want to fly. I was falling now, but at the same time, I was spreading my wings. When I left the airport, it was raining. I didn't have an umbrella, but that was okay. I was already soaked anyway. I took a taxi. The driver asked, where to? I handed him the business card. Here. The car moved through the rearview mirror. I watched the airport disappear. I looked ahead. The road stretched out, and the traffic light turned green. Jake had said, sometimes you have to leave to arrive. I understood that now. The motel room was small but clean. A single bed, a small desk, a window with faded curtains. I set down my bag and sat on the edge of the bed. The springs creaked. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. It was the same person, but something was different. My eyes, the angle of my mouth. I'm not sure. I just looked like a different person than I did this morning. I took a hot shower. Warm water ran down my shoulders, washing away the airport's cold. As I dried my hair with a towel, I thought about tomorrow. It would be Monday, and I'd have to go to J.R.'s office. I didn't sleep that night. I lay counting the cracks in the ceiling. I heard a television from the next room. Someone was laughing. I pulled out Jake's photo, the one I kept folded in my wallet. Am I doing the right thing? I asked the photo. His eyes were still warm. I looked at those eyes and cried, quietly, without sound. My pillow got wet, but that was okay. Monday morning, J.R.'s office was on Oak Street, the second floor of an old building. I gripped the handrail tightly. As I climbed the stairs, my knees weren't what they used to be. The receptionist greeted me with a smile. Mrs. Monroe, come in. J.R. was sitting at his window desk. Behind him, the Portland skyline was visible. Sit, he said. I sat in a leather chair, old but comfortable. J.R. placed a stack of papers in front of me. It's all ready. Want to read through it? I read slowly. The legal language was difficult, but the meaning was clear. All my assets would be divided between Elder Haven, the local library, and a trust. Mark Monroe's name didn't appear anywhere. If I do this, I stopped. Mark won't get anything. J.R. nodded. That's right. Legally, you have no obligation to leave your children anything. It's your property. You decide. I picked up a pen. My hand shook. I stopped at the signature line. This one signature felt like cutting off 40 years of relationship. I remembered the day Mark was born, his small, red face, the moment he first gripped my finger. Blake, J.R. said, if you think you'll regret this, don't do it, but if you're certain, don't hesitate. I took a deep breath, and I signed. Blake Monroe. My name was etched on paper. Good, J.R. said as he organized the papers. Now let's talk about the house. When will you go get your things? This week, I said. During their work hours. I don't want to see them. J.R. handed me another business card. A real estate agent. She's my friend. And trustworthy. She'll help you with the house. I took the card. The name Jennifer Rose was printed on it. When I left the office, my legs felt weak. I held the handrail. As I went down the stairs, a young man coming up asked, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I answered with a smile. "I'm just a bit tired." I went into a cafe and ordered coffee. The barista asked for my name, Blake, as she wrote it on the cup. She said, "That's a great name." "Thank you," I said, my voice trembling. I sat by the window and turned on my phone. There were 12 missed calls. All from Mark. There were texts too. "Mom, please pick up. Let's talk. Why are you doing this?" I put the screen down. There were also texts from Tanya. "Mom, we're sorry too. I think there was a misunderstanding. Come home." Misunderstanding. That word seemed odd. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a clear choice. Their choice, and now mine. Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. I stood in front of the house. I asked the taxi driver to wait 30 minutes. He nodded and opened his newspaper. I turned the key. The door opened. The house was the same, but felt unfamiliar. The living room sofa, the kitchen table, the photos in the hallway. They were all mine, but they didn't feel like mine anymore. I went to the bedroom and opened the closet. Jake's clothes were still hanging there. I took out his sweater and smelled it. It smelled like detergent. His scent was gone. I packed clothes into my bag. I didn't take much. After all, I was starting fresh. From the dresser, I took out the necklace Jake gave me, a small silver bird. I remembered him saying, "You should be free like a bird." I came back to the living room. Jake's chair was by the window, an old leather armchair. He read books in it, listened to music, sometimes napped. I touched it. "I'm taking this," I said to myself. I packed the photo albums. Wedding photos, Mark's childhood, vacation pictures. They were heavy, but I couldn't leave them. I couldn't abandon the memories too. On the kitchen table, I left a letter I'd written beforehand. To Mark, "I'm leaving. The house key here. I've taken my things. Don't contact me again." Mom, it was short. There was nothing else to say. Or rather, I didn't want to say anything else. As I left the front door, I looked back. 40 years in this house. Mark's height measurements were still marked on the wall. A faint wine stain from something Jake spilled was still visible. On the floor, everything was there, but I wasn't anymore. I closed the door. I put the key in the mailbox. Walking to the taxi, tears came, but it wasn't sadness. It was relief. "Where to?" the driver asked. I handed him another address J.R. had given me. Willow Grove. It's a senior residence. The car pulled away. Through the rearview mirror, the house got smaller. I looked ahead. The road stretched out, and the traffic light turned green. Jake had said, "Sometimes you have to leave to arrive." I understood that now. My phone rang. It was Mark. I turned it off. Today, I didn't want to talk to anyone. Through the window, trees passed by. Spring was coming. Bare branches were turning green. I wanted to be like that too. Bare, but growing again. Willow Grove came into view. A low building, a well-maintained garden, a rocking chair on the porch. I grabbed my bag. It wasn't heavy. I only had what I needed. "We've arrived," the driver said. I paid and got out. I stood in front of the building for a while. Then I took a step forward. When I opened the door, it smelled like lemon. A young woman at the reception desk was smiling. "Mrs. Monroe, we've been waiting for you." It comforted me somehow that she knew my name. And I didn't know yet that this was just the beginning. My room at Willow Grove was at the end of the second floor. There were 2 windows. One faced the garden, one faced the parking lot. I chose the one facing the garden. "Press the bell if you need help," said Megan, the staff member. She looked about 26. "Dinner is at 6. The dining room is on the first floor." When I was alone, I unpacked my bag. I hung up clothes in the closet and put photos in a drawer. I placed Jake's chair by the window. The sunlight warmed the leather. It was perfect. The first night was quiet. I heard footsteps. In the hallway, faint sounds of someone laughing. It was unfamiliar but not uncomfortable. I lay in bed looking at the ceiling. No cracks. A clean white ceiling. In the morning, I went down to the dining room. There were 8 tables. Some were already occupied. I looked for an empty one. Sit here. A woman waved. She had short gray hair. I don't like eating alone. I'm Helen. I sat across from her. I'm Blake. You just arrived, right? I saw you yesterday moving in. Helen smiled. Her wrinkles were deep, but her eyes were bright. Oatmeal and toast came. Simple but enough. Helen asked, family? I put down my fork. It's complicated. Everyone's is. Helen nodded. Half the people here came because of family. The other half came because they have no family. But everyone's happy. Strange, isn't it? I laughed. For the first time, a real laugh. On the 4th day, I turned my phone back on. There were 47 missed calls. 35 from Mark, 12 from Tanya. I didn't read the texts. I opened only the most recent one. Mom, please, let's talk. We can't live without you. I turned off the screen. It meant, we can't live without your money. I understood the difference now. Thursday afternoon, I went to the library. It was a 15-minute walk from Willow Grove, a small neighborhood library. The moment I opened the door, I smelled books. I loved that smell. The librarian greeted me warmly. Can I help you? I'll just look around. I walked between the shelves, running my fingers along the spines. I remembered when I was a librarian myself. I stopped at the poetry section. I pulled out Mary Oliver's book. I opened it to a page with a line. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I stared at that sentence. For a long time, was my life wild? Was it precious? I'm not sure, but I knew now that it was a life I chose. I checked out the book. On the walk back to Willow Grove, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. Mom? It was Mark's voice. I'm calling from a different number. Why aren't you picking up? I stopped walking. I have nothing to say. Mom, I saw the letter at the house. What did you do? His voice got louder. You left a key and told us not to contact you? Are you really our mother? You abandoned me, I said, at the airport. That was. Mark paused. A misunderstanding. Tanya was just clumsy. She was trying to build your independence. Don't lie. I interrupted. I know exactly what Tanya said. Sell your phone. Take the bus. Is that building independence? Silence. Then Tanya's voice came through. Let me talk to her. The phone switched. Mom. Tanya's voice was firm. Let's be honest. You can't live alone. You're old. Your health isn't good. We should take care of you. The house is too big. Too expensive to maintain. If you give it to us, we'll manage it, and you can live comfortably. It's my house, I said. My money, my life. Legally, yes. Tanya's voice turned cold. But morally? Mark is the only son. He should inherit naturally. When you die, it's ours anyway. When I die, I felt my heart racing. You're waiting for me to die? That's not what I meant. Tanya sighed. Mom, think practically. You're old. We have kids to raise. Loans to pay. Futures to build. You've already lived your life. We need to live ours. That hit me like a knife. Already lived your life. As if my life was over. Tanya, I said slowly. My life isn't over. And I changed my will. You won't get anything. Silence. Long, heavy silence. What? Tanya's voice shook. Are you joking? Call the lawyer. J.R. Wade. It's all been handled. Legally. Mom. Mark must have grabbed the phone. What are you saying? Our house? Dad's insurance? They went to Elder Haven and a trust. I said. You get nothing. Are you insane? Mark's voice cracked. We're family. We're blood. Family isn't blood. I said, tears coming. Family is love and respect. You abandoned me at the airport. Is that love? Mom, please, stop contacting me. I said, never again. I hung up. My hands shook. My legs felt weak. I sat on a nearby bench. An elderly man who passed by asked, are you okay? I nodded. I'm fine. Just a difficult call. Family? He asked. I laughed. How did you know? The look on your face. Family hurts the most, he smiled. But that's okay. You can build a new family. He walked away. I watched his back, walking slowly with his cane. He was alone, but he didn't seem lonely. When I got back to my room, the sun was setting. Orange light filled the window. I sat in Jake's chair. I pulled out his photo and set it on my lap. Did I do the right thing? I asked the photo. Jake was smiling, always smiling. A knock came. Blake? Helen's voice. It's dinner time. I opened the door. Helen was there. I don't like eating alone. Come on. I looked at her. A stranger, but warmer than Mark. I'll come. We walked down the hallway. Helen asked, did you cry? I didn't lie. Yes. Family? Yes. It's okay to cry. Helen squeezed my hand. Everyone here understands. When I entered the dining room, several faces looked at me. All smiling. Strangers, but warm. That night, I realized something. Family is a choice. Blood is fate, but family is choice. And I chose my family. Spring had fully arrived. Tulips bloomed in Willow Grove's garden. Red, yellow, pink. Jake's favorite colors. Every morning, I sat on a garden bench with coffee. Birds sang and the breeze was gentle. 6 months had passed. 6 months since Gate B22. It felt both impossibly fast and impossibly slow. J.R. called. Blake, the notification was sent today. His voice was careful. To Mark and Tanya, the will change has been legally notified. I understand, I said. My hand wasn't shaking. My heart was calm. They'll call. J.R. said, are you ready? I'm ready, I answered sincerely. That afternoon, my phone started ringing. It was Mark. I saw his name flash. I didn't answer. Second call. Third. Fourth. I was reading Mary Oliver's poetry. The phone kept ringing, but I kept turning pages. In the evening, a text came. A long one. I read it. Mom, we got the notification. Is this real? You're really cutting us out? Mom, we're family. What would Dad say? Please reconsider. Leave us at least the garden. We don't have anything else. I didn't delete the text. I didn't reply. I just left it there. Present but unreachable. Helen knocked on my door. Blake, it's book club time. I got up. I put my phone in a drawer. Coming. Book club was in the common lounge. 7 people gathered. This month's book was Educated by Tara Westover. The story of a woman who left her family to find herself. Helen said, the hardest part isn't leaving. It's loving after you've left. Everyone nodded. I nodded too. After the meeting, Helen and I walked down the hallway. She asked, you got a lot of calls today, didn't you? How did you know? I saw your face. Did you reply? No. Good. Helen smiled. Not answering is also an answer. That night, I lit a candle in front of Jake's photo. A small tea light. The flame lit his face. The notification was sent today. I said to the photo. To Mark, I wish you could see this. Tell me if I'm doing the right thing. The candle flickered. There was no wind, but it flickered. I took it as a sign. The next morning, I took a walk. There was a small lake near Willow Grove. A 20-minute walk. Ducks floated on the water. I sat on a bench overlooking the water. Sunlight sparkled on the surface. Someone sat beside me. An unfamiliar elderly man. Good morning, he said. Beautiful, isn't it? Yes, I replied. Do you live alone? He asked. At Willow Grove. Me too. 3rd floor, he smiled. I like it here. Better than family. I looked at him. Do you have family? 2 sons. But I don't see them. For 5 years. His voice was calm. It was their choice. Do you regret it? I asked. He shook his head. At first, I did. But now I'm at peace. Regret is trying to change the past. I chose the future. He got up. Have a good day. Before he left, he added. Peace is expensive, but it's worth it. I thought about his words. For a long time. Peace. Was that what I was looking for? Or justice? Revenge? I'm not sure, but my chest felt light now. A week later, a final text came from Tanya. I understand. You hate us. We made a mistake. We're sorry, but this is too much. Mark is crying. He says you abandoned him. Do you know that feeling? From the airport? We gave that to you. We're sorry, but this is revenge, not love. I read the text again and again. Revenge. That word stuck with me. Is this revenge? Or is it a boundary? What's the difference? I started to reply. Deleted. Rewrote. Deleted again. I didn't send anything. Helen was right. Not answering is also an answer. Thursday afternoon was art class. Willow Grove held watercolor lessons every Thursday. I'd never painted, but I decided to try. The instructor said, "Don't fear mistakes. Paint forgives." I picked up a brush. I dipped it in blue. When it touched paper, it bled. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine. I painted for 2 hours. A tree, sky, a house. Clumsy but complete. Helen looked at it. "That's nice." "You're lying," I laughed. "No, I mean it. It's yours. It doesn't have to be perfect." That night, I hung the painting on my wall, next to Jake's photo. They didn't match, but that was okay. My life didn't match either. But it was mine. The moon waxed and waned. Summer approached. Roses bloomed in the garden. Red roses, the ones Jake gave me every anniversary. I stood in front of the roses and thought, what is legacy? Is it money, a house, or something else? Jake said, long ago, legacy isn't what you leave. It's what you teach. What did I teach Mark? Love, respect, or dependence? I'm not sure, but now I can teach differently. To Helen, to Megan, to the strangers here. Boundaries, choice, peace. One evening, I saw a young woman in the common area. She wasn't staff. She was a visitor. She was crying. I approached her. "Are you okay?" She looked up. "I'm sorry. My grandmother lives here, but my mother doesn't come. Money issues." "Sit," I said. She sat. I told her my story. The airport, the notification, the choice. When I finished, she asked, "Don't you regret it?" "Sometimes," I answered honestly. "At night I want to call. I want to hear Mark's voice. But I don't, because love can't live without respect." She nodded. "My grandmother said something similar. Your grandmother is wise. So are you." After she left, I stood by the window. Stars were out. Stars Jake and I used to count. 1, 2, 3. I counted alone. My voice shook. That night I dreamed of the airport, gate B22. But this time, I wasn't alone. Helen was there. Megan was there. The art teacher was there. Everyone was smiling. "Where are you going?" Helen asked. "I don't know," I answered. "But I'm not alone." When I woke up, my pillow was wet. I'd cried, not from sadness but relief. Now I'm sitting on a bench in Willow Grove's garden. My coffee is getting cold. Birds are singing. My phone is in my room drawer. On, but unreachable. Mark probably won't call anymore. Neither will Tanya. They've accepted it, or given up. I'm not sure the difference matters. Will I regret this? Someday, perhaps. But for now, I'm at peace. Expensive peace, but worth it. Jake said, legacy is intention. My intention is clear. To be respected. To stay where there is love and care. To be a family. Helen walks toward the garden. "Blake, lunch?" I get up. I take the coffee cup. And we walk together. "What are you doing today?" She asks. "I think I'll paint. How about you?" "Knitting. Making a blanket. For a grandchild." "You have a grandchild?" "No," Helen laughs. "But someone will need it someday. Even if our blood didn't mix." We open the dining room door. Laughter comes from inside. Familiar faces. My chosen family. I turn around. I can see the garden. Roses, tulips, and the bench I sat on. Everything under sunlight. I know now. The one-way ticket brought me here. I wasn't abandoned. I was freed. The airport wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And if someone ever finds themselves alone at a gate, I hope they know a one-way ticket can be the truest return. Home isn't where you were born. It's where you choose to stay. And legacy isn't money. It's intention. I sit at the table next to Helen. Warm soup comes. I pick up a spoon. Outside, a bird sings Jake's favorite song. I smile. I'm at peace.